According to President Joe Biden, marking the passage of the first anniversary of the pandemic declaration, at a time when American fatalities to a novel coronavirus had exceeded the death toll in both world wars, the conflict in Southeast Asia and the fatalities on 9/11, that we were hit with a virus that was met with silence and spread unchecked, but we know what we have to do to defeat this virus: tell the truth. According to World Health Organization Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, at the end of December 2021, going into the second year of a pandemic, surely we have learned by now that we underestimate this virus at our peril, and, according to former WHO official and National Security Council member Jamie Metzl, now, more than 3 years after the start of the global pandemic, there has yet to be a comprehensive forensic investigation into its origins, presenting the emotive claim that, with more than 1 million Americans dead from COVID-19, and an estimated 15 million dead worldwide, that's inexcusable. According to notable evolutionary biologists Edward C. Holmes and Christian Anderson, who, on January 31, 2020, had written an email to Dr. Anthony Fauci, expressing their doubts regarding the natural origin of the novel coronavirus, noting that the features appeared to be engineered, had reported their conclusions on the origins of that same virus, in a peer-reviewed publication, published on September 16, 2021, almost 2 years later, that FOIA to comprehensively investigate the zoonotic origin through collaborative and carefully coordinated studies would leave the world vulnerable to future pandemics arising from the same human activities that have repeatedly put us on a collision course with novel viruses. And, at least according to one federal jurist in the Eastern District of Virginia, Judge Mary Hannah Locke, an appointee of former President Barack Obama, when one unrepresented litigant, now identified as a federal whistleblower, and a former biological warfare planner, regarding the ineffectiveness of the mandated non-medical grade facial coverings even determined by the NIOSH over a decade ago, these were mere criticisms and enigmatic allegations. According to another jurist on the federal bench, regarding a request under the FOIA to obtain injunctive relief from the White House that had failed to respond, at all, to a request to determine whether certain standard metrics on the novel coronavirus were classified information, joining her colleague in Richmond, Judge Locke, Debney Fredericks had claimed, "We are not the first to see it this way," denying that she could even understand what Judge Locke had described as a prolix and incomprehensible complaint, but yet, if the standard metrics requested had been classified information, under Executive Order 12,958 had been, in fact, classified, the novel coronavirus attributed to over 1 million fatalities could only have been cultivated or manipulated in a laboratory, and owned or controlled by the government. Upon receiving a complaint from the same unrepresented plaintiff, yet another jurist on the federal bench, Tonya S. Chutkan, also raised under the FOIA, but this time directed to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, III, regarding the excess fatalities among uniformed service members during the COVID-19 countermeasures availability. She described the allegations as rambling and fantastical and, like her colleagues, decided to dismiss the complaint. And now, in a complaint brought in the state courts of Virginia, seeking to compel a grand jury investigation into the infections of a pastor, his wife and members of an evangelical Christian church in Alexandria, the prosecutor, Brian Porter, a Democrat who has been able to run unopposed since his first election, has not only described the complaint as frivolous and inscrutable, but has also gotten permission of the court to bar the plaintiff from submitting any further filings to that court. Without approval, in violation of his rights to sue, be parties, give evidence, and to the full and equal benefit of all laws and proceedings for the security of persons and property as is enjoyed by white citizens, in violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which describes the equal protections that are guaranteed not just to all citizens and residents but to all persons, and he has claimed, in at least hypothetical, that even if there was probable cause that the mayor of Alexandria had committed acts of terror and murder, there is no power in the land that could compel him to charge, arrest or even investigate him, because he enjoys an absolute prosecutorial discretion, and he even believes that he is doing something right. At least Lord Acton had believed that all power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The prosecution in the trial against Aaron Burr in 1803 had said, "We who are seeking truth and not victory, whether right or wrong, have no reason to turn our eyes from any source of light which presents itself, and least of all from a source so high and so respectable as the decision of the Supreme Court of the United States." And, at least according to former Chief Justice John Marshall, when deciding the case Marbury v. Madison, a case brought on the extraordinary remedy of mandamus to compel a government official to perform his duties, it is emphatically the province and duty of the Judicial Department to say what the law is. And, at least according to former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, that is what elections are for.
This message was approved by Major Mike Webb. Honest.